Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. So, the process that is the Philadelphia 76ers with Joel Embiid just finished up their 10th season. And I guess looking back on these 10 years, decade of Joel Embiid, now technically it's been 12 years as he missed his first two seasons with a broken foot. So, obviously, can't count that as part of the process, even though it is. Just looking at the 10 years on the court, my main question is, I guess for Sixers fans, NBA fans, has the process been a success? And should Philly want to continue that process? Because Joel Embiid is finishing up his 4-year deal, but he's not going to become a free agent because he has a new 3-year contract that's about to kick in this coming season, where he's going to jump from about 53 million per year up to around 63 million a year, which, looking at the talent of Joel Embiid, that's one thing if you think it's justifiable. But you have to take into account throughout his career, his biggest down point has been durability. And if you're going to look at the past 4 years, there's reasons to believe that the next three under this new deal could be much like his past three in his 4-year deal. So before he signed the 4-year deal, he played in 68 games. So for a contract year, he had a great season. I want to say he came off the MVP year that season. But now, looking at the 4 years of that deal, he played in 66 games, then dropped down to 39, then to 19, then to 38 this past season. And this past season, look, he was out to start the playoffs, but he was reintegrated partway through the Celtics series, and he was a big proponent in them knocking off the Celtics in the first round. Kudos to him. Is the same guy who, a couple of years ago, he talked about the rivalry with Boston not being one because they kept beating him. So he got his win over the Celtics. Great. Now, when they spun that, the next round to get swept by the Knicks doesn't have kind of the effect that it probably should have. So now, coming off of a sweep, they're going into an offseason where I just said Embiid has a new deal that's about to kick in. Paul George, who they dealt for, has, I believe, a couple of years left on his deal. So he could potentially still be around in a couple of years. You have Maxey, who had a breakout season. Edgecombe looks like he's going to be a good player. But can this iteration of the Sixers do what Embiid and Ben Simmons group couldn't do, what Embiid and Harden's group couldn't do, and that's get past the second round? Because Embiid has yet to see a conference final, and the Sixers have done. I mean, they've made moves. Have they all been smart moves? That's up to debate. But they have tried different versions. Like they've had what they had, like the Al Horford deal. Remember, there was the Buddy Hield deal. They've tried people. So Maxey and Embiid could be different. I don't know. But I do think the perception is, if these two are to stay together, that Maxey should assume the role as the number one, with Embiid being in the supporting cast. I guess kind of the Knicks dynamic. Even though I do have some questions as to whether or not the Knicks can actually win a title with their duo that they have. I would have questions about this duo going forward. Embiid's 32. The new contract will take him into his year, I guess, age 35 off season, where I guess he would become a free agent. What does Embiid look like at 35? I don't know. I mean, he doesn't necessarily seem like he's a guy that's going to all of a sudden become durable as he gets older. But can he play just enough to have the Sixers be a top six, top four team in the East? Maybe. Early in his career, the Sixers were pretty much consistently a top four seed. They were even a number one seed in the 2021 playoffs. Like 49 and 23. Embiid played basically every playoff game. Because that's another thing with the durability thing with Embiid. He's usually going to miss a game or two in the playoff run as well. But look, like I said, that's not necessarily a big deal if he misses a game or like two, which is kind of what has been the trend for him in the playoffs. But it's just getting them there. And I guess since they won the East in 21, they haven't won it since. They've kind of slowly been drifting down the standings like a four seed. And then past 3 years, they went playing, missed the playoffs, playing. And I think that's the worry for probably the Sixers organization and for the fans as to whether or not that trend might continue, where he's a sub 40 game player. And just look at his career, the 10 years he's played, I think on average, his average is like 49 games a season. That's not good enough for, the Sixers if they're going to be consistent contenders. You look at the East, the Pistons look like they're going to be around for the next few years. Look, you know how I feel about my Celtics. They're going to be around. Cleveland, they'll probably be in the conversation as well. Now, will the pieces in Cleveland change? We'll probably see this offseason, but they look like, at least from their regular season performances, they'll be a team that's up there. Milwaukee, we'll have to see what happens to the whole Giannis stuff. Like if Giannis is still there, can they put a team around them where they're back up in the conversation? But just looking outside of those teams, we saw Atlanta kind of make a jump this year. Their first season, even though it was just a half season post Trae Young. Toronto was up there as the sixth seed, I believe. They have a pretty young group. The Hornets are a team that I think a lot of people are going to probably buy into next season and the next couple with their young group of players. So if the next, I guess, iteration, which going into the new contract with Embiid, leads to nothing more than playing seasons and potentially just first round exits, has it been worth it? Now, look, prior to Embiid getting there, the Sixers were definitely in some down years. So it would be irresponsible of me to say, like, Embiid has done completely nothing to change that. Like, Embiid has obviously brought relevance to the Sixers after those down years. But just what I guess, the ability that he's shown, obviously, early in his career, he was a big man who could run the floor, uh, play in the post, torch big men in the mid range, and shoot the three. His athleticism does obviously seem like it's being stripped from him with more and more of these lower body injuries. We know what kind of toll that can take on big men. We've seen it throughout the history of the NBA. Like nothing shortens a big man's career more than lower body injuries. And obviously Embiid has had his own injury history, and that I feel like you have to kind of factor that into what the next 3 years could look like. So, do the Sixers do something with like Paul George? I don't know what you could do with him. I'm seeing these rumors like the Kings. Maybe there's a Kings Sixers thing that could happen surrounding, I guess, Embiid and Sabonis. I don't know if I would buy that, but I guess rumors are out there. I just don't see why a team would take on Embiid and his large contract, especially with his body of work. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So, like I said, you let me know what you think. What do you think happens with the process? Does it continue with Embiid? Do you think the Sixers really try to deal him off this offseason? Imagine an offseason where you could have Embiid and a Giannis out on the trade market. That would be kind of crazy. But yeah, so let me know what you think below. I will also, I guess, do turn this into an article so you can check out Discord, Tumblr, or whatever. Look out for that in the next coming days. I do think it's kind of fascinating what the Sixers end up doing this offseason. Partly because as a Celtics fan, I have to keep my eye on the Knicks and the Sixers, obviously within the division. I guess I should say the Raptors as well, but you know. So yeah, let me know down below what you think about the process. What you think about Embiid in general, and how you kind of view his career up to this point. Like I said, very talented, just not available enough for me to really, you know, view this process as like some great success to me. So yeah, appreciate you tuning in. If you're listening to this, appreciate you for listening. Make sure you go ahead, hit the like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, comment, all that good stuff. Greatly appreciated. So until I talk to you next time, make sure you tune into Passion and Precision Friday night, where I believe Jory, Key, and I will probably discuss this topic a little bit more. But if not, look out for the article as well, where I will probably go a little bit deeper into this. But appreciate you. I really do. As I always say, be safe. God bless. I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.